Just as important as citing sources in one's own writing, it is important to be able to properly read and understand citations and bibliographies we come across when reading the works of others. In an effort to better understand what information in-text citations and bibliographies tell us, let's get started in breaking the code. In-text citations let us know the information we are reading didn't come from the author, but from another person or body of work. A citation can always be identified because it will be surrounded by parentheses. Within the confines of those two little miniature walls is our first code that must be broken. The first piece of information we are given is at least one name. This will be the last name of the author or authors from whom the information has been borrowed. The second piece of information you will be given is the year of publication. If the author of the piece you are reading is using a direct quote, you will also be given the page or paragraph numbers on which the cited information can be found. While an in-text citation gives us a lot of good information, we still need a more complete reference from the bibliography page before we can track this information down for ourselves. On your screen is a sample bibliographic entry from a book. And if you're wondering, yes, that is a real book. Yes, I really do have it. And yes, I really did read it. The bibliography is found at the end of a work you're reading. All references will be listed in alphabetical order, starting with the author's last name. The reference will begin very similar to our in-text citation, with the author's last name. For our example, the author's last name is Wetzel. However, you will also receive the first, and if they have one, middle initial of the author as well. In our example, it's D. So the author is their first name, begins with the letter D, and they do not have or did not provide a middle initial. This is really helpful because we have authors that sometimes have the same last name, but not necessarily the same first name. So there may be a lot of people with the last name of Smith. So having that first initial and middle initial, if they have it, is really important. The next thing that you're going to see is the year of publication. Always good to know if a book was published in 1912 or 2012. Things like that tend to have an impact on the way the information is written. So in our example, the year of publication is 1994. The very next piece of information you will find will be the title of the piece. So the title of our book is The Complete Joel's Journal and Fact-Filled Fart Book. And because this is a book, the next thing we're going to have is the location or where the book was published. It was published in Bayside, New York, and the name of the publishing company, Planet Books. Now, that's what you're going to see if the source came from a book. Things are going to be a little bit different if it came from a journal or a magazine. On your screen now, you're going to see a sample of a magazine article citation. So they start out very similar, but there's going to be a couple things that are different. The first thing that is different is that after the name of the article making the grade in today's schools, we have the name of the magazine, Time Magazine. Following the name of the magazine, you're going to have the issue and or volume number. That's where we have our 135. And the last piece of information you're going to have in a magazine article as well as a journal article is the pages on which the entire article can be found. So in this case, pages 28 through 31. Now, there's also going to be another piece of information if the citation was found on a website, the web address and the date the information was retrieved. There are several reasons for this, but the main reason is how frequently websites tend to be updated. A particular sentence may have been a part of an article when I retrieved it one day, only to be edited out the following day. or sometime following that initial retrieval. So, why is it important to know the code of citations and bibliographies? It encourages the reader to check the information provided by the author. When you see a citation, you immediately know that you are getting, at best, secondhand information, also known as a secondary source. However, there are times when someone mistakenly gets a quote wrong, uses a quote out of context, and even goes beyond the parameters of a particular study in generalizing results. The only way to know if the citation utilized was appropriate is to check it out with your own eyes. Knowing the code of a bibliography will give you everything you need to find the primary source and verify the information. Now, being a code breaker, you can, with confidence, identify when an author is using information provided by a third party or secondhand information. You can also read through a reference for the clues needed to lead you to the source utilized so that you can check it out for yourself and see if the author used the information appropriately or took the original author out of context. You are now prepared with the skills to be a citation and bibliographic code breaker. Congratulations.